back to another episode of Life Changers, and my name is Mike. I always like saying my name. My name is Mike. Yeah. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm talking into a mic. This is Mike. Today's comedy act is going to be about Mike, stand-up Mike. So, this is a good example of War of the Mind. How I'm supposed to be talking about brilliant things, and now I'm just speaking gibberish. Hey, in closing, see, I'm fighting with my mind right now, you guys. This is an amazing example of War of the Mind. Previous episode about perspective, we're just sitting here talking. I'm like, see, I should have talked about this, should have talked about that. But anyways, here's a good perspective story for you. When I was a little bit younger, 14 years old and on, I was really interested in magic because my brother was an amazing magician. As if you guys have been following our podcast, you guys will know that my brother has been doing magic since he was a little kid, and he's about 6-7 years older than me. Anyways, I wanted to be good as him, and we actually performed shows in schools and clubs and stuff throughout the province of Quebec. But I digress. Perspective. I'm doing a show. I think I'm screwing up the show. And then after the show, I'm just like, me and my brother are like, oh man, I messed up on here. I messed up over here. I'm doing this. People probably, I just messed up. But then yet, when we went out into public after and meet with everybody, meet and greet, everybody's just like, you guys did such an amazing job. I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you made that ball flow, and I don't know how you made those things disappear and change. And I'm like, really? I screwed up more than half the tricks. But I did very well. I did a good job. So anyways, I guess this brings us into the war of the mind, because the biggest war you're going to have is with yourself and your mind when it comes to law of attraction and just anything in general. Think about how many people you know, because back in, I guess, in the 90s or the early zeros, big thing was self-help books. And so many people know people with tons of self-help books, and they know all this knowledge and what to do to be successful and to achieve their goals and all this fun stuff. Or even people like right now, law of attraction, who knows and read the book The Secret or saw that movie called The Secret and knows and watches every YouTube or every podcast of law of attraction, but do nothing with it. It all comes down to war of the minds, man. That's the biggest fight I have with myself. When I'm trying to meditate, it's my mind just like poof, doing its own thing. So just the other day, I tried Reiki for the first time. You just got to go in with an open mind, and I talked to the lady about it. And as you could probably tell, I research a lot, and I finding like the flow of the universe, and I talk a little bit about energy and the energy or the flow of money and energy of love or energy of money or whatever. So to me, it's like, hey, this person is working with all my energies. Maybe they can help me just pluck out all the negative energy for me. But it doesn't work that way. But she was actually advanced, taught by a gentleman from Japan. So this is like an old, like hundreds and hundreds year old Japanese Reiki technique that she was using, which was awesome. I've done other things like sound bath, Reiki, stuff like that. But this is my first like Reiki where they just put your hand on you and let the energy flow through. And as she says, it's just going to go to work and do what it needs to do. So and she's like, just relax, close your eyes. If you have any questions, you can talk to me while I'm doing it. And that. And just before I walked in, her husband was like, this is your first time? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I was the biggest critic of all. Like, I used to be like, honey, this guy's just taking your money, teaching you nothing. And you're traveling to Europe to meet up with this guy so you can learn all this amazing techniques. But when he tried it, he's like, no, now I'm the biggest advocate. Like, I'm telling all my buddies, where they're even looking at me because he, I guess, isn't like construction company of some sort, and he's telling all his buddies about Reiki and how that could change their life, and they're just looking at him like he's nuts. But if it's for you and if you want to try it, I do suggest it. If you're at that point where you feel you can understand it, hey, ask me 3-4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I would have been like, no. You have to be in the right frame of mind and understand the energies of the world, and be in meditations and stuff like that. I hope there's a lot of people listening to these podcasts that are new to learning about like law of attraction and stuff like that, and learning the different terms that I'm speaking about, like the energies or the higher self or universe, stuff like that. Like, I welcome everybody, and if you have any questions, please comment them below. But yeah, so I was doing the Reiki and having a major battle with my mind. First off, my body trying to stay awake, because when I'm lying down on a table, it's lights out. To the point where my wife, when I'm lying down and I just pass out, like, she'll be like, I just lie down and she'll be like, so how's it? And I'm gone. She's like, how do you do that? You just put your head on the pillow and you're gone, you're dead to the world. Right? So fighting with myself to stay awake because I want to have this energetic experience. And I'm trying to like think of things that I could help force this experience. And then my other side of me is like, just relax, let the universe do what it needs to do, let the flow of the energy through the Reiki come through. Like, she's a Reiki master. Just let it go, just trust in the method. And yeah, at one point I found myself just calm, relaxed. My mind was like, ah. Kind of like the beginning of the song, just quietness. Right, for the intro, which I like a lot. But just relaxed. And then I saw these little strings, and like, my eyes are closed, and I'm a very visual person. And I was like just visualizing and just saw these strings flying out of my body. And there's certain strings that looked like had a lot of negative energy. So I consciously like, well, I'm going to cut those ones off. And then they took off, gone. And there's other ones like with love, compassion, understanding. And I'm like, oh, I want to keep those. Maybe build on those strings. And then, my mind starts coming back. I'm trying to feel like, no, I like what's going on right now. Like, I feel like, and then here comes the war again, where I got to fight myself to just relax. And I start thinking of all these other random things that's going on in life and the world and what I got to do next. And no, just relax, get back to the moment, let it happen, and have an amazing experience. And after, and it was a quick, like, Reiki is usually a good hour. This was more of an introduction at the event I was at. And we were talking, and she's like, I normally don't tell people this. And then we were talking about different things. And I asked her, like, did you feel a block? She goes, you know what the block is. You tell me what it is, because I know what it is. Then I'm like, oh, we're at a stalemate. Because I'm like, well, if I tell you what the block is, and you're like, you're right, this is the block, right? Then I'll be like, well, you're just feeding off me, my energy. So I was like, okay, you write it down, and then I'll tell you. And then you show me, see if we're on the same page, right? But yeah, in the end, like, we're talking about my block. And she says, with all the information, like I mentioned before, like, she even said, like, yeah, with all the information I have as a Reiki master, how I can learn all these different things, I have a block. And she goes, and it's for me to work through that block and find out what I need to do next. And I was like, yes, The Surrender Experiment. I love that book. But yeah, you have to just surrender to the universe and just let it teach you and guide you and show you what you need to do, and just do it. And she's like, yes. Now, what about your block? I was like, And I'm not really going to get into the details of, I guess, my block that's stopping the energy flow. But in the last few, I guess, couple months, I've been to different events and learning a little bit about a lot of energies and stuff. And a lot of people are telling me, like, that I have a block, and they're all pretty much the same, come with the same block. But in the end, it's up to me to remove the block and have this war of the minds and just, get to the point. Like, honestly, like, I know I mentioned these guys a lot, but with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about, like, blowing open your heart, or having a heart orgasm, I guess, where it just blows open and just pure love, pure energy flows through you. And like that's where you've made it. And you can understand and truly understand the flow of all around us and that we're just energy and everybody around us, right? There's negative, and we could all understand that there are people that come by and you're like, ooh, you felt that? That person has negative energy. They're bringing me down. But it doesn't have to work that way. We don't have to let people bring us down, and we don't have to feed off negative energy. We can have the war of the mind, set up our positive energy, and just let it flow. So I'm going to wrap it up, but war of the mind is pretty much between you and you. When it comes to meditations, when it comes to just trust in your higher self, trusting your gut, trusting the universe, and just doing it, and just not have that argument with yourself or that jibber jabber. Because I don't know about you guys, but my mind just goes crazy sometimes, and it does try to bring in a lot of negativity, like, oh, hey, the end of the world, or this is going to happen, or oh, you're going to work so hard for all this and it's for nothing. But who cares? Out of my 21 years of being my, I guess, own boss, having my own companies, learning a lot and experiencing a lot of highs, a lot of lows, late nights with my wife, putting together, like before internet, like online shopping was like hardcore. I made a website, fun fact, I made a little landing page called, like, I guess something like the World Mall or something. And it was like, hey guys, anything you want, just tell me what you want and we will find it, shop for you pretty much. We'll be your personal shopper and then we'll ship it to you. Needless to say, a lot of work. We made a lot of catalogs. We did a lot of advertising, a lot of designing, a lot of men hours, me and my wife, a lot of hours putting into it. Even my brother brought him and his wife in on it to help out. They're like, hey, let's hang out. I'm like, hey, you got to help us finish this stuff. Then I could hang out. If not, I don't have time. But yeah, you're going to have your highs. You're going to have your lows. You're going to have your mind fighting with you every day. But you got to learn to win on top and have the positive energy. So on the next episode, we're going to talk about how you can try to have more and more of the positive energy and what I'm going to be doing to keep my energy positive. And then we can feed off each other and we can talk about that. So once again, this is Mike. This is Life Changers. And remember, it's a work in progress. It takes one day at a time.